Hi everyone, I am so excited to be joined today by the wonderful Tricia Eadie. Welcome, because we are going to hear from Tricia as a part of our International DLD Research Conference. Thanks so much for being involved, Tricia.
It's a pleasure, Sean.
We're super excited and we'd love to hear, what will delegates learn from your keynote?
Well, I've spent probably the last decade thinking deeply and working in early childhood education and care, and thinking about the connections and the collaborations that health, and particularly allied health and early childhood professionals can have, and the benefits that has for young children, but also for us as professionals, for families and communities. And so I'm going to bring together the work we've done over 2 decades now with the Early Language in Victoria study, and thinking about early language vulnerability, and then looking at what are the evidence-based strategies that we already know about that we can be implementing in early childhood education and care settings that really address language learning and language development for all young children.
Fantastic. And it's really exciting, particularly for us who in Australia have been following ELVS, the study, for such a long time. Particularly, I think the participants are all in their 20s by now, wouldn't they?
They have all turned 20, some have turned 21. Yes, and my head has changed colour in the meantime.
I bet it has.
We can probably that bit, Sean.
It's an amazing achievement, though, to be able to follow these young people all the way through, and to be able to learn for them to be able to share their experiences and us to be able to learn from that. In terms of the conference itself, what are you most looking forward to seeing at the International DLD Research Conference this year?
It's always really interesting to hear about the work that's happening, not just in Australia, but internationally. But I have to say, I'm really looking forward to Rosanna's keynote. We've been thinking a lot about implementation science in our work in early childhood settings. And so I'm really interested in hearing what she's been working on and what she's found with respect to implementation science.
Yeah, I think it will be a hit, and it's going to be the final day of our conference. I'm hoping that people will be able to walk away from the conference thinking about, well, what does implementation science look like around supporting people and working with people with DLD, because we know that the research is so important, but we want it as researchers to change practice and to lead to better outcomes.
Yeah.
So my final question for you is, why do you think an event like the International DLD Research Conference is so important?
So I work in a research centre where we're very focused on the translation of the evidence into the practice in early childhood settings. So for me, this conference is so important because it's bringing together the clinicians as well as the researchers, as well as people with DLD. And we were talking about ELVS a minute ago. We're currently doing some interviews with ELVS participants in their very early 20s about their experiences with DLD, and I think it just makes it so, it brings to the fore the importance of actually coming together and thinking about what research should look like, what are the key areas that we should be researching, and doing that in a co-design way that actually brings everybody together. So for me, this particular conference does that in a way that I'm not sure many other conferences, I think some other conferences are still aspiring to.
Fantastic. And we're so pleased that the outcome of the International DLD Research Conference will be funding the DLD Research Grant for 2024, which I always love. It's a huge part of the reason why we do this is to be able to give back and support future research in this space. So Tricia, thank you so much for joining us today and telling us about your keynote, and we're so excited to hear from you soon.
Thank you.